And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again for the simulcast here on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, as well as on Instagram. We're glad you all could be with us. Going to go ahead and bring in our family over on Amazon Live so we can begin our conversation for today. But a very special guest is back with us today. And we're live on Amazon Live. We welcome you guys on the Amazon Live side of our platform. If you guys are new to us on Amazon, welcome. Make sure you guys hit that follow button either here in this corner or down below. You also will see some of the books by our next guest. We're excited to welcome back best-selling author, motivational speaker, and media personality, Chanelle Coleman Wesley. I want to talk to her now about the great kickoff of 2025 that she's involved in. She's already been out doing speaking engagements. She's celebrating her book she released at the end of last year. She has some other great projects as well. I want to also let you guys know how to stay connected with her and all the great things she's doing. Chanelle, welcome back to the broadcast.
Hi, Cyrus. Thank you so very much. I'm always happy to be in here. Thank you so much for having me.
Look, it is my pleasure. You're starting off the year very big. Hello to you, Robert Ham. Good to see you over there on IG. Mo Barnes, good to be able to see you as well. So already a busy 2025 for you, Chanelle. I mean, what has it been like for you to be able to walk in your purpose? As I mentioned, you're multi-hyphenated as a media personality, motivational speaker, best-selling author. What has it been like for you to walk in your purpose and to see people responding to what you're doing?
You know what, Cyrus? It's truly been very humbling. This past weekend, we got a chance to go over to Perryville, and one of the women there in the community, she had stopped me as I was coming. We were transitioning, and she was thanking me for coming, and she was just telling me what the impact was the last time that we went out in October. And she said the women who weren't, now she wasn't on the yard that we spoke at before, but they had heard what happened, and she said there was a presence, over the yard for the next couple of days. And the women were going back, reciting what we were saying and how they were so encouraged. And she was just so appreciative that we were there. And that's what really makes it worthwhile when you hear the impact of what you're doing has on someone else.
Yeah, that's such a great point, Chanelle. And the thing is, for those who don't know your story, now I have here the book, She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically. This is the book a lot of people, including myself, got to know you from. But I want to highlight, for those joining us on the Amazon side of the book, Naked and Not Ashamed, because in that book, you share a lot of your story as well. To hear comments like what you just mentioned, Chanelle, what is it like for you knowing where you've come from, what you've come out of? How does that feel to know you're doing exactly the work that you were meant to do?
Cyrus, is again, it just shows you that there's a bigger purpose, and that we truly are, our brother and our sister's keeper.
Yeah.
It really gives you, sometimes you can think of just your alone story as just something in a pond, but it has ripple effects. And sometimes, even within your mess, that there is a message, because in Naked and Not Ashamed, I share my good, I share my bad, and I also share my ugly. And through that all, God is still able to use me despite the flaws that I have. And so that was some of the words of encouragement that I gave to some of the women there. Use your story. Your story is someone else's survival guide.
It really is. And I want to turn that on you then, Chanelle. What made that clear for you? That there was not only a message for you to share, but important for you to be able to share it the way that you have in books, but also in the way that you speak.
Cyrus, I think it's just because I know what it feels like to hit rock bottom. I know what it feels like to contemplate, committing suicide, to make attempts at committing suicide. I know how all of those things feel. And after losing my daughter, I found myself in that place again. And coming up out of that, one of the things that I found true inspiration were affirmations, and also speakers like Les Brown, like Lisa Nichols, like Dr. Eric Thomas, to name a few. Those were things that helped to encourage and inspire me. And that's what helped me to also realize and to ignite my voice. Sometimes you have talents or abilities, and sometimes you just don't know what to do with them. And so you're trying to figure it out. And it's not until you hit a pain point, pain and purpose kind of intersect. And usually you can find your purpose by where that pain point. And so that was something that was awakened to me just through going through life cards, as I call them.
Yeah. Love that. And I love the fact that too that people are not only getting able to know you through your work, Chanel, but also to see themselves in you. Talk to us about that. Because I know for myself when I start sharing my own experiences, how people would say, you know what,
Mhm.
I could relate to that. Or I saw me in what you were saying. How does that feel to know that by your sharing the way you have, not only are you giving people permission to share, but you're giving them the okay that you know what you're feeling does not have to define you.
I think sometimes that, when you go through certain circumstances, you feel like you need to put on a facade or a mask
Hmm.
to make everything look okay. Just like having a great, very frank conversation with Ali this week, just talking about various masks and things and being able to confront things and develop resiliency. Sometimes you don't know what it is until you're watching someone else go through their transitions, and you say, well, I can I can relate to that. And so if this person can get on the other side of their obstacle, then hey, then I can get on the other side of my obstacle as well. And so that's, where you find like-mindedness. That's where you find community, because sometimes you may feel very distinct and very off from other people, but then you recognize that people aren't so different and you have commonalities and things that intersect and help you to be able to be a part of the, a brotherhood or a sisterhood or just the human family in its entirety.
Yeah, a big part of your message, and it ties into your own show, your own radio show and podcast. We're gonna get into that, but also the message you're able to share as a speaker is again the title of this book. She said yes to herself unapologetically. It's the unapologetically part that is not easy for a lot of people, especially women. Chanel, talk to us about the permission slip this book is given not only the reader, but also I think all of us to not leave ourselves behind in life.
Cyrus, I love the question, and I think it's because no one verbally communicates to you that that you should take up space. you
Yeah.
know, in mind, you feel like I'm supposed to shrink myself to fit in this space, and even when a life teaches you that you need to say yes to yourself, it's first done so very timidly, very weak. Almost as if you need confirmation, everybody's okay and approval that it's okay for you to do that. And then, as life continues to teach you additional lessons, then you learn to be more bold and more aggressive in your yes. And now you don't need the validation and you don't need confirmation. And now it becomes very in your face and it's unapologetic, not where it's abrasive or offensive, but it's just in knowing that, hey, I'm supposed to take up space. I don't
Yeah.
have to shrink myself to fit into this box of limitations that's self-imposed, not, most likely.
Yeah. I think that is the great thing here, Chanel, and that's what you've been able to share with people as well. I want to highlight the latest book that came out. I want to share our screen for those of you joining us on the Amazon side. I want to highlight for you guys, and that is the Empower Her Blueprint: Empowerment Strategies for Women of Faith on the Rise. Talk to us about this book and how it kind of connects with She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically, Chanel.
Cyrus, when I say she is a passion project, she is. She's definitely a part of this series. Um, Although we do discuss 21 actionable steps that you can take, and she said yes, there was still more on the table that I felt was left unsaid. And so that's what this book is. It's, connecting with people, my both whether speaking and workshops, things of that nature, allowed me to see that I needed to dive a little bit deeper and to be able to help women to have a blueprint. How do I get there? What do I need to do? And so it gives 17 powerful strategies that help women to be able to understand, who they are called to be in Christ, and to be able to know that, this time elevation is as possible, but it's also necessary. So many times we're content with this version until we see 2.0 version
Yeah.
arrive, and then there's a 5.0 also, if we would allow it to be so. Just like yourself, Tyrus, you're constantly leveling up. Even though you play hard and you play big, you're never content with where you are. You're constantly striving or that next level. It doesn't mean that you're not appreciative and celebratory about the things that you've been able to accomplish, but you know
Right.
that there's still more that you can give, still more ways that you can impact, ways that you can help, and that's what keeps you passionate and keeps your hand on the helm. And that's, you know, something that I find in common with you, because that's the same thing.
Hmm. Love that. Selena, hello to you over on the Amazon side. Selena
That's
says,
my
right.
sister, Cyrus.
Oh, is it okay, Selena? Glad to be able to have you with us. I want to say again, I see you guys on YouTube as well. For those just tuning in, welcome. You're watching Cyrus Webb Presents. We're on Amazon Live, like Selena and others are. But we also, of course, are simulcasting this on social media. So you can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram. We're talking to the one and only Chanelle Coleman Wesley. She's a best-selling author, motivational speaker, and a media personality. Now, let's talk about this, the radio show and podcast. Chanelle, that was one of the latest offerings you added in 2024.
Hmm.
Talk to us about the show and what that's been like for you. You've had some great interviews. I caught the one you did recently with Ali Dulcimer. What has it been like for you to be able to see the response to the show?
Cyrus, it's just truly been impactful, very rewarding. I love being able to connect with people and to help them to be able to tell their story. I feel like that's one of the ways that we build know, like, and trust in community, because sometimes you just don't know that there is an amazing person out there until you kind of dive and pull back the layers of that person, and to be able to experience them on a new level. And so I love the show because it allows me not only to engage with authors and entrepreneurs and people who just have transformational stories, but it also allows me to be able to connect with the audience. And that's something that I'm very passionate about. I love to be able to keep the hand on the pulse and see what people are thinking, because again, not only am I teaching people something, but they're teaching me things as well. So it's transactional. So I just really love that component of it.
Yeah, and again, you mentioned earlier about you of course doing speaking. I have
Mhm.
saw a clip for our audience joining us on social. Make sure you guys are checking out Chanelle on social. You'll find clips of her there. What is that like for you to see yourself in that element, Chanelle? I was curious about that. You have such a dynamic personality. What is it like for you to look at clips of yourself when you're in your element there as a speaker?
Sometimes it's funny because sometimes I listen to my voice and say, I don't sound like I don't sound like that. And sometimes, you know, I'm always critiquing, like, well, you know, next time I could say this or I could do it that way. But I think when I'm having fun is when it's the most fulfilling. Like, there's an exchange with the audience. You know, I think so many times, instead of trying to present this perfect package, when you're willing to strip and get a little naked for your audience, it allows them to be able to give up something as well. And so you really connect. The clip that I most recently did was at the Christian Book Lovers Retreat, and Dr. Velma Bagby, she actually extended the opportunity to me, and I really thank her again for that opportunity. And when things were going bad, I'm like, okay, I can't make it. And then Dr. Audrey Ann Moses was like, girl, you need to be here. I
Mm,
thought I was going to be at this class that you were having. So I'm like, okay. And it made me try to figure out how I can make it happen. But I was supposed to be there. That day that I was giving that talk was my daughter's her birthday, my daughter tonight, who passed.
mm,
And it put me in a space where, instead of feeling sadness and mourning and grief, it allowed me to serve. And that's where I needed to be at that moment, to be able to get myself in the right mode and to be
yeah.
able to keep myself focused on being here and why I'm here, and celebrating her life and her legacy and what it meant to me and those who knew her.
Love that. Love that. And thank you for sharing that. So, as you're now walking boldly into 2025, as I mentioned, you're still celebrating the new book. You, of course, are doing more speaking. We're going to let our audience know how to be able to stay connected with you, and as well as be able to book you as a speaker. But also, of course, what you're doing with the media platform as well. I tell people all the time that when you're doing what you love, it's work, yes, but there's such a satisfaction. What is it like for
Yes.
you to be so engaged with everything you're doing, Chanelle, but to also feel the excitement that you do about it?
You know what, Cyrus? Just like you said, it doesn't feel, it's work, but it doesn't feel that way, because I truly believe it's what I was created to do, my purpose. And I believe when you're walking in your purpose, you feel for a sense of fulfillment, as this is why I'm here. I was created to do this.
Yeah.
And, all that we do, we always want to make sure that we give, our best, to God, and that in some way we're acknowledging Him in whatever we have. But again, it just makes me feel as if I am being my brother's keeper, and that I'm doing what I can do to serve others. And that's something that I'm very passionate about, just, the upbringing with my mother and my family, my father, sense of community. That's just important to me, and to be able to, do unto others as I would have them do unto me.
Love that. Love that. So, for yourself, what are you the most excited about as we're heading into this new year? It's hard to believe we're almost halfway through January already.
I know. It's crazy.
It really is. This year's come in busy. But
Like a
what are you
whirlwind.
excited about as you're heading throughout this year?
You know what, Cyrus? I'm trying to be more intentional about enjoying every moment. There's so much happening. Uh, you know, Always valuing, of course, family and my friends and those relationships, but also making sure that I'm serving and doing what I was called to do.
Yeah.
I have some exciting things happening now. We're preparing for a youth empowerment event. She said yes to herself, unapologetically presents. She planted, she watered, she bloomed. Get up and go, girl. Youth empowerment event that's going to be happening right here in Milwaukee on January 26th. We're planning on serving 150 girls ages 10 to 17 years of age right here in Milwaukee. And it's a free event because we didn't want price to be a barrier. So just preparing for this and knowing that we're going to be serving and pouring into this next generation of women is something that I don't take lightly. It's something that I feel very just positive about, but not just that, our sense of privilege and responsibility to make sure that we are seeding the right types of ideas into this next generation and equipping them with the skills so that they can do better than what we've done in this generation.
Your sister's bragging on you. Selena is on Amazon. Chanelle, she says she's also a dynamic and talented writer of plays. So proud of Chanelle. Talk to us about that, Chanelle. You and I haven't talked much about the plays, but talk to us about how that started.
You know what, Cyrus? I just being a survivor of incest and molest, you just create images in your mind and you always see stories. And my sister, whether she wants to or not, she always gets roped in to anything that I'm doing. So we used to go touring around. We went to Chicago. We put on this one play, and she was the other woman in the play. And she played it so well that the sisters were giving her the side eye after the event. And she said, I'm not playing the bad guy anymore. But it's something, I love it because you get instant gratification. When you write a book, you have to wait for people to get it and to read it. And people might not always say to you what they got from the book or what insights, but when you're doing drama, right then whether or
Right.
not they're feeling it. Because if you don't, you'll lose them fast. They'll get on their phones. And once you lose them, it's hard to try to reel them back in. So it just teaches you to be instant, to always have an improv if this doesn't go right, to be able to be flexible and to transition. But it allows me to be able to kind of like live my best life in 90 minutes or less.
Yeah.
So I love the creative process in writing, but I also love performing as well.
Love that. So a lot of great things for us to be able to look forward to. I do want to go back though to the books, because one thing Chanelle and I have talked about is that Chanelle, it's not enough for Chanelle to win. Chanelle wants to empower other people. She wants other people to win as well, and which is great. I mess with Chanelle that of course, the importance of not forgetting herself along the way as well. But Chanelle, you mentioned, of course, people you've been able to connect with, and I think that's so important for all of our journey. But how has that been for you to connect yourself with people who are not only like-minded, but they can pour into you as well as you being able to pour into them?
Cyrus, it's really been life changing. This past weekend, as I mentioned before, I was down in Phoenix, Arizona with Tina Marie and the Bridge Builders.
Mhm.
And this is an organization that's a non for profit that helps to be able to provide bridges to opportunities, to employment, to bettering themselves with entrepreneurial journeys, and just helping various women in their different stages of life, especially 50 plus and older. And they do still provide community for younger women as well. But this past weekend, I was not feeling well, and I traveled, and I was not as on it as I should have been, and I missed my flights. Tina Marie, who was the organizer of the organization, she started making phone calls, and because the carrier that I went through wasn't going to allow me to get back home until the end of the week.
Oh,
And
wow.
so they made some moves, and this sister who I've never met before, her name is Sister Sherry, she gave up her miles to get me home so that I could get home, so that I could get my infusion. When I tell you, it's one thing when you go to serve with women and you're pouring out into the community, but not only that, but Sister Sherry, Sassy, we call her Sassy, her name is Cheryl Satterfield, Ari Wells, Tina Marie, they were checking up on me the entire weekend, brought me, white soda and crackers and, anything that I was asking for. It just feels a sense of being connected and being whole. When
Yeah.
you are with like-minded people who are in the spirit of collaborating, who don't see each other as competition, but
Yeah.
want to see you better yourself and want to see you become bigger than what you are, and who are rooting for you, it's nothing like that. It makes you feel powerful, it makes you feel unstoppable, but it also makes you feel as if you belong to a community. And it's something that's very impactful and very just heartwarming to me. Very, very touching, very made me get a little bit in my feelings a little bit. But I love being a part of people who are not just people who are lip service, who just say
Right.
the right things for a soundbite or because they feel like this will sell, but they actually have the principles that they say that they have. And when those things align, you're just unstoppable. And that's the same thing like with the CMG family. I've found a sense of community there. I found a sense of people who are can inspire you to grow, things that you can learn from, people that you can also root for and cheer them on in their journey as well. So I'm really big on community and collaboration because I believe that we're better, we're stronger together. That's something that you say a lot, and that's the truth, and we are.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's such a great point, and I think it's one of the things too for all of us to realize that not only are we stronger together, there's room for everyone.
Yes.
You know, but as you, I'm so glad you shared that story about those who were there for you because it's one thing like you said to pour out, but when you see other
Hmm.
people willing to pour into you because of what you need, that means a lot as well. Robert says, great interview. I'm not really sure about the name. I'm sorry. Is it Cecile? I'm not really sure. Hello to you over there on IG. Glad you could join us. So, Chanelle, a lot of great things that are happening for you. How can our audience stay connected with you and what should they be on the lookout for?
Again, Cyrus, I want to thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule to have me on here. I always love stopping by. People can stay connected with me by following me across socials at Chanelle Coleman Wesley on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and also on Twitter. They can also follow my website, she said yes to herself.com. If they want to email me, they can do she says yes to herself at gmail.com. I love to be able to connect, and the things that I have going on again this month. We have the She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically Presents. She planted, she watered, she bloomed. Get up and go, girl. If you have a youth, a female who's between 10 to 17 years of age, please go over to the website and get her registered. Again, the event is free. If you're saying, hey, you know what, this sounds like an amazing thing, and I would love to be able to help you guys by partnering with this opportunity to be able to provide an impact, then again, message me as well, because we would definitely love to be able to have those contributions. We want this to be a memorable and life-changing experience for everyone. And I also want to thank quickly my sponsors, Dr. Velma Bagby, Homer Blow, who is a partner, Ari Wells and Levels of Freedom, who is a partner, Ron Wilson, Inner City Entertainment, who is a partner, and also Samuel Thurman and Walnut Way.
Love it. Chanelle, congratulations to you. Excited about hearing about the event when we chat next month. Looking forward to our next conversation together.
I'm looking forward to it as well, Cyrus. Thanks.
More than welcome. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.